There is a gap between these two markets, but I see a $400 goal on Nvidia on this precise date. Watch the entire video to find out when. In terms of equities, the S&P and stock markets are drawing comparisons, stating things like, okay, cash burn, low cash cushion, out to the woodshed, while the Mag 6, had no worries at all until lately. The high-yield market now claims that there is no risk associated with the cash cushion argument. I've already discussed commodity prices as a signal. If the bond market is correct, and I'll conclude by stating what we've said for a long time, while deflation is a concern, there are also opportunities. Technology-related deflation and cost reductions will lead to growth explosions and the creation of a wide range of new occupations that are currently unthinkable. The internal combustion engine is one example of those who have been unable to adjust to the positive changes, but there are many others. Those who do not actively adopt AI to boost their own productivity and lower their own pricing will be at risk. However, anyone who experiences price deflation, which we believe will happen to many businesses, will embrace new technology that will significantly boost their productivity, which is what always occurs during a recession. Businesses and customers are willing to modify their methods when they are afraid, and we believe that fear is growing as innovation gains popularity. Therefore, we anticipate a significant increase in the adoption of technology in the years to come, particularly in the area of artificial intelligence. I will thus conclude where we began. AI is still in its very early stages. We believe it to be the most significant general-purpose technological revolution in history. It still has a long way to go. The pace of development has accelerated significantly since the Internet era, when Moore's Law, which states that, in the realm of transistors and semiconductors, the same performance can be had for half the price every 18 to 24 months, was in effect. These days, performance modifications for the same cost occur every 4 months rather than every 18 to 24 months. Since the competition is going to be fierce, we believe it's critical that everyone, whether they are a business leader or an employee, consider accepting or utilizing as many of these AI technologies as they can in order to boost productivity. The fastest adopters of these new technology will emerge victorious. Having said that, I'm looking forward to doing this again in a month. Happy end or unofficial end of summer. Despite a difficult period following the release of its data in mid-August, Nvidia's stock is up around 15% this week. Joseph Moore, senior semiconductor analyst at Morgan Stanley, is here with us now to share more about the company and the industry. And simply tell me, Joseph, what has been going on this week? What is driving the stock's momentum in either direction? Yes, I believe that what transpired during the last few weeks surprised me more than anything else. I know they're struggling with these expectations difficulties, but the quarter was incredibly excellent, and they beat by $2 billion, which has never happened before until Nvidia started doing it a year and a half ago, and some doubts about the gross margin surfaced, but the sell-off truly caught me off guard. This is our top choice because of the extremely high demand and the importance of concentrating on product cycles and such matters at this time. We want to see the corporation follow through on that. But Jensen told us at a conference this week that the main concern is just the company's strength. We have now heard from several important customer-side executives on their dedication to these workloads. Therefore, I believe that this is still a really interesting story. And once more, I was a little curious as to why it was posted this week. The company is well valued and has excellent growth possibilities moving forward. I'm not sure why it went down so much last week. Will Hopper's gross margins be higher than Blackwell's? Perhaps a little, I believe. I believe that at one point during the product's March launch, they sort of talked about certain price points on CNBC, which is a little out of the ordinary. Their main concern, in my opinion, is can we continue to deliver value? Can we keep expanding the market? Furthermore, I believe that they are likely more concerned with that than the finer points of gross margin. In the upcoming quarters, which are essentially only the beginning of things, there will be some pressure here. We're building it up, and initially, yields will be low. I believe they have stated that the gross margins will be comparable during the entire life cycle, but they are also broadening the range of products. They will sell an NVLink switch into these racks, and there will be a microprocessor with Grace. Many of the products they sell have the. Although it is slightly lower, I believe it to be hence the answer to the question is yes. However, that doesn't alter the fact that the gross margins remain high. Naturally, Larry Ellison had a say in the Oracle conference call and everything that emerged from the Oracle data. But Jensen Huang's remarks at Goldman, the Oracle exclusive interview outside of the White House killing, and everything else you and I went through led to this comeback to AI. Microsoft also gave presentations at Communicopia and Goldman Sachs that were heavily focused on artificial intelligence and all of its opportunities. And so, are you more of a believer? You have been doubtful. No, I have never doubted AI's ability to revolutionize the world. What it will mean for society as a whole is what I have been and still am concerned about. I have no doubts about what will ultimately transpire there. Divergent opinions are still present. One is held more by the Sequoia camp, which we all began discussing earlier this summer when Sequoia released their first report discussing and asking questions about the return on capital invested in all of these, whether or not they would eventually find their way into apps, and how this would all work out from a value proposition. However, Jim, I'm not skeptical about whether or not this will change everything. You're not? Excellent, as I haven't been. It's funny when you talk to Jensen, you know that. He claims that this booze, which has been around for about 18 months, is meant to treat cancer. You wait for a moment to clarify that. If that's not the objective, it's about receiving data instantaneously that would take years to compile. I ask myself, does he cure cancer? That's nice. Recent instances where physicians were still able to identify cases of breast cancer more accurately than AI at the time raised doubts, without a question. However, the situation is current. I should mention that he has no health issues, as he made clear to me. NVIDIA will answer the question of how much it will cost. Ellison, the CEO of Oracle, now claims that the expense will be incalculable due to the need to stay up with the AI networks. The expenditure never stops. It's similar to what they construct. One of the most important considerations is whether Sequoia has accepted the notion that it would eventually be essentially finished. You won't have to spend as much money on GPUs. All the data will be processed. The generative models and large language models will be partially complete, but at least partially complete, and you'll proceed to the next stage. However, the value generated by the people running the models won't necessarily be that much, right? However, I do believe that one of the things, for example, have a look at what Tesla is discussing. Tesla, after all, is discussing robots and how to create really autonomous vehicles. Discuss self-driving technology, such as some of the apps. It's similar to when you took chemistry, which I was able to drop because I knew it would negatively impact my transcript. I realized that this was about attempting to accomplish fundamental rather than applied. Jensen is handling the fundamentals, Elon is handling the applied, and the applied is substantial. But chips too, which leads us to yesterday's White House appearance when Jensen Huang discussed AI and the national rollout. To what extent will they work with the government in a public-private partnership? Listen to Megan Keller's interview with him if you missed it. We must ensure that everyone is aware of the upcoming demands, as well as the opportunities and difficulties they present, and that we address them in the most effective and scalable manner possible, of course. Do you believe that the federal government should play a part in this case by combining private and federal investment? Given the extremely rapid growth rate, public-private cooperation is most likely going to be required in this field. Artificial intelligence uses a lot of energy to train, but it also saves a lot of energy when it is used because the main goal is to use the model, not to teach it.